really had no idea about Cambodia. Sort of went in, no expectations, and was blown away really by how sad their future was, but how much hope they hold in building a new future for themselves.
Obviously very third world and that, but I had no expectations heading over there. Didn't really know much about the history of what went on, so it was a very eye-opening experience.
It never ceases to amaze me, the impact that those few days have on the boys and that sense of wanting to be able to give back.
Doesn't really matter how many times you go, I don't think. Purely the gravity of the situation and what's happened in Cambodia over the last recent history, really 30 or 40 years, I don't think it could ever dissipate. And it was just so good to be able to be there, being someone that's seen it before and experience it again through their eyes and see the impact it had on them, really.
A group of us sort of young boys from TB and Sheeta and Yowie being the oldest, down to Kurt and Coley as third year players. We're going into their third year now. A group of staff as well pretty much landed in Phnom Penh, and that's what I saw first. And yeah, we hung around there for a few days, saw S21, which was the prison, the killing fields as well. The history of Cambodia is it's pretty raw and sort of brought out the emotions in everyone. It was a pretty horrific history that they've had, and it wasn't that long ago.
It was pretty confronting from at the start. The stuff that happened to those people was quite full on. Yeah, it's quite sad, but also there's a range of emotions. Like, you kind of got angry that you couldn't believe that other people could do that to other people.
Just the mass scale that it was on. Obviously 12 slang, the prison and the killing fields, probably the main ones, but the worst part was that there was hundreds of those across the country happening everywhere, and the 3 million people that were reportedly killed were just sort of bringing that all together, trying to comprehend that. A lot of boys struggled to actually get it through their heads that that's what had happened. So the mass scale that it took was huge.
They used anything they could find, really, from garden tools to farming tools to machetes, but they didn't believe in using guns because they were a waste of bullets, and bullets were quite a commodity at the time. But yeah, it was just crazy to think that this was happening only 30 years ago or 35 years ago, and this country's definitely still suffering.
The Skull Tower sort of, for me, was just, that was someone's loved one at one stage, and a lot of the time whole families were taken away, and as brutal as it is, all killed together. But even the Cambodian people that you would see floating through the prison and the killing fields, just thinking that possibly they're looking at a loved one that they've probably never known, never met before. So you get a close-up look of what it was like.
We see some of the worst parts of Cambodia, but we're also lucky enough to see some of the best parts of Cambodia.
So went and visited Sunshine House Orphanage on one of the early days with Samuel Butler and his mum Pam. They've sponsored a young guy out there with cerebral palsy, young Samuel, and it was amazing to see Butsy interact with this young guy. He's obviously touched his heart when they first met him, and they've continued to support him. Seeing a guy like Butsy, premiership player, just like butter really, with this little kid in his arms, and just seeing the compassion, the humanity and the side of Butsy that a lot of people don't get the opportunity to see maybe with football, and the good work also that Pam's done through the MOPS. They've invested in a daycare kind of thing run there in Cambodia, 15 new computers, a bunch of books that the MOPS raised $5 grand to do. So it's amazing what we can do in Perth can have such a massive impact over there in Cambodia.
One of the nights we stayed at one of the orphanages there, the Sunshine Orphanage, which was run by a bloke called Gaz.
Yeah, the kids though, just so happy to see new faces that wanted to give them some love and attention and care, and a couple of the boys connected quite well with a couple of the little kids.
They put on a few performances and we put on a performance for them, and it was a really good night.
The boys got up and did a bit of Macarena. No points for originality, but there was plenty of points for effort.
Had a little freestyle dance as well, which was good fun, and they got up and really loved it. So it was awesome to be up there in front of them dancing, because they don't really see that from older people. Dom Sheed and Tommy Rass put on a great slow dance. I think leading up to it said they usually do that at the Claremont Hotel, so it was pretty funny.
Yeah, my dance moves aren't great, they're never great, but the kids there were a lot better than us.
The volleyball game in the morning, fourth time I've seen the boys going with confidence, thinking we're an AFL side, we're on big money, these guys are on $1 a day. we're going to stitch them up. And sure enough, it went exactly to script.
They're pretty handy, the little Cambodians. We went in pretty confident. We had big Jono Giles and Jamie Graham on our side, and big Matty Allen. But yeah, they smoked us.
I was a good reason for why it went wrong in the volleyball early. Put us on the back foot a little bit. Matty A and Sheeta were probably our best two. Everyone was in between me and them, so yeah.
We won the first set, which apparently they let us win the first set every time we go over, and then lost the last two. It was 13-all in the last, and then Pardo decided to try spike one, and he's only 4 foot tall, so I think that potentially lost us the game.
The build itself, well, the highlights obviously is purely the interaction with the people. We're seeing some people that have tried to raise money. They've raised $25, which might have taken them 5 years to do, to contribute towards this house that we built for them. It's fantastic. They've got an invested interest in it, and we're there helping them.
It was 20 houses, and very, very simple houses. Basically, sort of a tin hut on stilts, but to them that was everything. We had to get them off the ground because floods most years take away all their possessions.
Yeah, they were watching us build it, and we had a couple of builders with us, but other than that, it was just us boys.
The lowlights are our skills with a hammer, basically. We're some of the worst builders going around. The boys took as much care as they could. They cared, they tried their absolute hardest, but it got ugly at times.
It was challenging at times. We got some pretty horrific weather with the rain coming down all day on us, and it made conditions quite tough, but credit to the boys and the whole group, stuck tough, and with a bit of help from the Cambodian locals as well.
Tommy Cole, he was probably worst on, I think. He just couldn't nail the nails in, Tommy. He just couldn't.
Liam Duggan was pretty average. For a country boy, you'd think he'd go all right, but he was pretty average, especially his first 2 nails, yeah.
Wasn't too good on the tools, but yeah, the handover was a pretty special moment. Obviously, to us, these homes, they wouldn't look like much at all, but the smiles that we put on their faces, and how appreciative they were of what they've got now was unreal.
The smiles on their faces was probably one of the more memorable things I took out of that trip. They were just so happy that we changed their lives, really.
Well, this is our 8th year involved. We couldn't do it without Airbnb, obviously our major sponsor, and that's really what it's all about. Getting the money over there and helping the people that really need it. And the fact that we've been up there 4 times now, we've built 80 houses. The ongoing legacy of it is massive for me, and I know it's massive for West Coast.
Oh, it was amazing. I think just the whole experience of it all. You come back here and you really don't take for granted the opportunity that we have as footballers, as Australians, to really make the most of it.
A massive thanks to Airbnb and the club for putting it on, and I think it's sort of a great relationship that we're building with obviously Tabitha over there and the Cambodian community. There was an option to go again tomorrow. I'd definitely put my hand up. I think everyone that went on the trip loved it. I sort of wasn't that ready to come back. I feel like there's a little bit more that we could do, and but obviously that timing was the thing. But if I would say if anyone had the opportunity to go, take it with both hands and get amongst it, get cultural, and just enjoy it. It was a great experience.